Hello and welcome, people of the internet. We're here with our week 2 transactions. So these changes will be active as of week 2 of the TBL, which should be the next battle video that comes out. So what are we doing here? We are changing Shinotic for Haunter. You might be thinking, Haunter? That's a weak Pokemon. And looking at those base stats, I can understand why you'd think that. But then you look at the special attack and the speed and realize this thing can do a boatload of damage. And don't forget, that's a base 45 and a base 55 in defenses. But it can hold an Eviolite. So it can tank hits rather well. And dish them back out. Obviously, we're very unlikely to use that base 50 attack stat. I mean, it does get some nice coverage moves on the physical side, but yeah, I'm not messing around with that. It cannot really set up. But yeah, so we're changing out the Shinotic for the Haunter. Now, we chose this. I chose this Pokemon because of one major thing. It gets Levitate. Our team so far only has ground immunities in the form of 2 flying types. I don't want to have to bring both of those flying types, or sometimes even either of those flying types each week. I'm basically only doing it because I don't have a better option. So we've got the Haunter here, which will act as that option. Now it does get some other nice things, such as Perish Song. It gets Mean Look, gets Curse, Toxic. It also gets access to Giga Drain, Hex, Will-O-Wisp. Gives us so many nice support options with those. It gets Hypnosis, Willow, and I think it also gets Thunder Wave. Let me just double check that. I believe it gets Thunder Wave at least. Thunderbolt, Thunder Punch. I guess Infestation for trapping things in as well. It does not get Thunder Wave, but it does get Knock Off as well. Pain Splits. It gets all access to things like Zap Cannon, which can cause paralysis. I think it's very easy to miss with Zap Cannon, but it has a 100% chance to paralyze if it does hit. So there's options here. There's options. Obviously, Thunder Wave on a Pokemon like Haunter is very unlikely to come, even if it did get it. It does get access to things like Self-Destruct and Explosion. Very amusing. May toy with that at some point. It also gets access to Energy Ball. It's got such good coverage. Sludge Wave. So yeah, this thing can poison. It can trick Scarfs if needed. It's got the speed there to do it. Scarf Haunter, although it can't tank a hit if you have a Scarf on it, it is almost certain to get that Scarf off onto something. Especially if that thing is a Miltank or Chansey or something of the kind. But yeah, we got Disable, Haze, Perish Song. So many good moves on this thing. And it was a tier 5. I couldn't not take it. Also, if I ever do decide to go on the physical side, it gets Poltergeist and Skittersmack. And if I ever need to get rid of an item without attacking them with knockoff, it does get Corrosive Gas. So we've got 3 really nice Isle of Armor move tutor attacks. So it also, there was one thing which we did not realize until team building. It gets Trick Room. Now we've already got Slowbro Galar, which also gets Trick Room. We also have access to Giglith, who is very slow. We've got a few nice options on the slow front. So that is something to bear in mind when assessing this swap in, is also the fact that the support moves alone give us a better advantage. Shinotic gave us an advantage in being a grass type and a fairy type. It also got Strem Sap, Toxic, Moonlight. It gets more consistent recovery than Haunter, but it also does not have Levitate. It added an ice weakness, so by doing this we've removed an ice weakness. We also no longer have that fire weakness. Yes, okay, we've got a ghost weakness, we don't have a fairy. But the fact that not having a fairy is not essential. It's just more of a nuisance. Yeah, let's call it that. Nuisance. So, when assessing this swap in, remember, the speed on Haunter is not suitable in the Trick Room. However, it does get access to Trick Room and can be a suicide Trick Room lead. Meanwhile, over on the Shinotic side of things, we are losing out one of our slowest Pokemon, which means that one of our counter Trick Room plays is gone. We are losing a very defensive Pokemon, but we are picking up a much needed immunity, as well as removing part of one of our strongest weaknesses. So there are pros and cons on either side. Just bear in mind, we no longer have that fairy. So we may struggle on that side of things. And I am working on trying to use one of my trades to get a fairy. So, without any further ado, please enjoy the rest of your evening, and take care and be kind.